I conquered a big fear of mine this weekend, and I'm going to share with you what it is. And then I'm going to relate it back to your relationship with food, of course. But when I share with you what this fear was, you are probably going to pee your pants and be like, really, Lorna? But we all have different fears, and I'm going to share one of mine with you. So I actually really love staying home by myself, especially like during the day. I get so much done. I'm so productive. I just feel like I have the freedom to just like blast the music if I want. And I really have the freedom to do that, whether Andrew is home or not. But it's just a different feeling. You know what I mean? It's just a different feeling knowing that like no one's there with you. Like I just feel like I have just so much freedom to do, kind of whatever I want. And that's fine during the day, but I hate staying home by myself at night. Like whether it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or it's like sleeping by myself. Like I've always hated it. And I remember when I was younger, I would watch those like Home Alone movies. I would watch those Home Alone movies and just like, hear about all these like silly things. And it kind of just like led me to, kind of think like, just like weird, scary thoughts. And I really don't like it. And this weekend, Andrew was actually flying a client in to work with him this weekend. Andrew does some business coaching as well too. So he was actually helping one of his clients for an entire weekend. It was so cool. He basically created their launch plans, created their program, created some content with them. It was phenomenal. So he was doing that in Toronto. And he was like, well, you can come. You can obviously come and just chill by yourself or whatever. But at least you don't have to be by yourself. And the first instinct was I could do that. And then, my mom was like, well, you can always, come down to Mississauga, in the city, and you can, stay with us. There's so many different options, right? And I thought to myself, that's the easy way. That's the easy route. I'm scared to stay by myself at night. And the easy thing to do is to just be comfortable. Go to your parents' house. Don't face your fear. Or go with Andrew and don't face your fear. And I could have easily done that. That's literally the easy road. And then I thought to myself, well, this is a fear that you're experiencing, right? Staying overnight by yourself. It's a fear that you're experiencing, but do you want to keep fearing this? Is this something that you still want to, be scared about? And I was like, heck freaking no. And I also knew that there would be other times, I'm sure, in my life. Andrew and I do a lot of things together, but I'm sure, there's going to be another weekend. He has actually another client flying in at the end of August. And so I'm going to have to most likely stay by myself again. So I knew that there was going to be other times where this situation would occur. And so I didn't want a Band-Aid solution. I didn't want to just go to my parents' house or go with Andrew, because that's the easy way, because then I would never actually conquer this fear. It would always be something that I was terrified to do. And that's always an option, but I didn't really want that. And so I was like, you know what? This is actually a phenomenal time to conquer my fear. And I was actually talking to one of my friends on a walk one day, and I was just mentioning how Andrew's going to be away. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. He's like, well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to actually, overcome it. And I was like, yes, you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to do it, because guess what? I'm a freaking badass and I can do hard things just like you're a freaking badass and you can do hard things. And so I was like, this is literally the perfect opportunity. So it was just Friday and Saturday night. And Friday I went to bed at probably 9 o'clock. It was still pretty bright outside. And I was like, listen, whatever you got to do, right? You don't have to go from one extreme to the next. So if it was winter and it was blackout at 5 p.m., maybe I wouldn't feel as comfortable as taking little baby steps, right? So here it's summer outside and it's pretty bright out still at 9 o'clock. And that just made me feel way better to be able to try and fall asleep, just knowing that like it's a little bit bright outside. Because I remember sometimes like in the winter, if Andrew did need to go to something like a work event or whatever, and he would be back at night, I would literally have like the lights on. Again, you got to do what you got to do. Anyways. And by the way, if you can relate to this, you gotta let me know, okay? I can't be the only freaking person, an adult who's like scared to stay in her house overnight by herself. Anyways, so I was like, yeah, it's 9:00. It's still bright out. I made myself a cup of chamomile lavender tea. And I had my blue light blocker glasses on because I was, I think I was like texting Andrew. Anyways, doesn't really matter. And I fell asleep. Like I fell asleep pretty fast. There was still a little bit of tossing and turning going on, but I did it. And then last night I went to bed a little bit later. It was probably like 10 something. And it was a little bit darker outside. And I did it. And guess what? I didn't die. And guess what? I'm fine. And guess what? It actually wasn't that bad. The moral of the story, like literally why I'm sharing this podcast episode with you, is because you think something is going to be so much more challenging than it actually is. And when I was thinking about like this fear that I experienced and me working to overcome it, I really thought about you, and I really thought about your relationship with food and your relationship with trigger foods. So right now, there probably are certain foods that you're scared of. There's probably foods that you're terrified to eat. I know a lot of clients that I work with, it's always like chocolate, ice cream, or a lot of the times it's like peanut butter, right? Like those are, and bread, right? Like those are kind of like very similar top trigger foods that many people are kind of scared of. And so if you're always terrified of those foods, right? If you're scared of those foods, the easy way out is let me just not buy them. The easy way out is, well, let me just not have them. The easy way out is having rules around them, right? Like just don't buy it, just don't keep it in the house. And you can do that, right? Just like I was like, I could take the quote unquote easy route. I could stay at my parents' house. I could go with Andrew. That's the easy way out, but I would never overcome my fear. And so for you, you can continue going to, or you can continue not buying the chocolate. You can continue keeping the trigger foods out of the house. But that's the easy route out. And also it does not help you change your relationship with them. It doesn't help you overcome your fear. It doesn't help you make peace with those foods. Right? And so the reality is the only way that you're going to overcome a fear, the overcome of having these foods, is by actually allowing yourself to have them. Like you lean into the fear so that number one, you prove to yourself like it actually wasn't that bad. And then number two, you also just the foods become less triggering because you're not triggered anymore because you've worked through it. Now, here's the thing. You might allow yourself to have some ice cream, to have some chocolate, to have some bread or whatever, and maybe you do binge. So that's normal. I mean, again, if you haven't done this in a really long time, it's normal for things to not go perfectly. Just like when I was by myself. It wasn't like I closed the lights and my head hit the pillow and then all of a sudden lights out and I had the best night of my life. Like that actually was not the case. There was still a lot of tossing and turning. There was still a lot of tossing and turning. I can feel that I was just a little anxious and I was just kind of tossing and turning a lot of the times. But is that better than just, again, not trying to overcome the fear? Absolutely. So when you introduce these foods into your diet, it might not be perfectly. You might not have a little, a few pieces of chocolate and just simply move on with your day. No, because this has been a food that's been off limits for so long. It's been triggering for you. So maybe you binge, or maybe you overeat, or maybe things, go better than you expected. But regardless, you are making progress. You are making progress. You can't think of this as like, oh, see, like I was still binging on it. So like, I can't try again. No, it's like, okay, this is one time. It's only going to get better from here. And that's what I thought about staying home alone. I could have easily been like, oh, well, I was still kind of anxious and I was still kind of tossing and turning. So like, I'm not going to do that again. Like, no, Like, I'm like, no, I'm excited for the next time because guess what? It's only going to get better. Maybe I'm not going to toss and turn as much. Maybe I could go to bed a little bit later. Like all of these different things. And you're going to recognize that with your relationship with food as well too, right? Whether it's trigger foods, even going out for dinner, like, you know, it's only going to get better. And you're going to realize that it actually turns out better than you think. I have a client that I'm working with inside of the academy, and she's coming on the podcast. So I'm so excited for you to listen to her podcast episode. She's freaking incredible. And she's been making like sourdough bread and just like all these like sourdough things. She's incredible. And bread used to be like a big trigger food for her. And now she's like able to just like bake. Like that used to be a big trigger food for her. Now she's able to bake and even make bread and all these other foods without it being triggering. Why? Because she went for it and she actually allowed herself to do it. Like you don't overcome your fear by never exposing yourself to fear. Like you actually have to lean into the fear, even though it feels scary. Like it wasn't like I am so confident to stay by myself. That's why I stay by myself. No, I was fucking sorry for swearing. I was fucking scared, okay? Like, I literally was so freaking scared. Like, I hate it. I honestly do not like it. But last night and the night before proved to me, like, I am okay. I'm okay. Like, I got this. And you're going to prove to yourself as well. And you might be like, no, but my situation's different. And it's so easy to think you're different, but you're not. Like you are in the most beautiful way, like you are very unique and special, but you're not different in terms of like you can't make peace with trigger foods. You absolutely can. The people who just have a good relationship with trigger foods, they've just allowed themselves to lean into the fear. That's purely it. Because even in the past, when there were certain foods that I was scared of, like even cashews, I would buy like the big ass pack of cashews. And I would just be standing up and just like eating straight from the bag, like zero control when it came to the nuts. I think it was like a huge part was like the texture as well too. Like nuts, dried mangoes, like all these foods. And I'm like, no, but like, you don't understand. Like those foods I will never be able to have control around. But okay, if I kept on telling myself that, then that was the reality. Then I wouldn't continue trying. But instead I'm like, you know what? What if I could have control around these foods? Like, what if it doesn't actually have to be that hard? What if I can actually get better? And what if I can actually build up trust? And what if this food doesn't actually have to be as triggering? Like, you're open-minded, just like I was this weekend. Now, another lesson when it came to me staying home alone. Like I said, I could have chose the easy route, but I knew that there would be other times that Andrew would be away, like I mentioned. And so I didn't want a Band-Aid solution. And so for you might be trying, and I know many of you guys aren't doing this because you've been listening to the podcast for a while and you're probably not doing this, but maybe in the past, like you've tried to keep certain foods out of the house. Maybe you're still doing it now, or maybe you're not allowing yourself to have certain foods. But you know deep down at your heart and your core that is just a Band-Aid solution. Like you just know that. And you also know that there's also going to be situations like weddings, birthdays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all these holidays. You know that there's also going to be those foods that are going to be there. Or you go to a friend's house, or, you go to a restaurant and there's going to be other triggering foods for you right there, right? So in your head, what you're probably thinking is like, well, I could, try to keep these trigger foods out of the house right now, but there's also going to be times where there's also going to be all these other trigger foods. And what am I going to do then? It's going to be the same situation. You're still going to have fear. You're still going to have anxiety, again, unless you lean into the fear. So I never wanted a Band-Aid solution, whether it came to my relationship with food. I'm like, I want to get to the root of this. I want to rewire my brain. I want to do things sustainably to end this for good, so that if I am home alone, it's late at night, I'm on vacation, it's Christmas, it's holidays, I'm at a restaurant, like I could just easily, be able to control myself. And then same with this whole home alone situation. Like I don't want to just like, take the easy route and like not overcome my fear, because then it's always gonna be something that I'm scared of. And I'm like, no, I'm a freaking badass. I can do hard things. Like, let's freaking go. Like, let's challenge myself. And now I just proved to myself, like, by the way, it's 6 a.m. here. You can probably hear the birds. I'm on a walk. You're on a walk with me, you guys. I was like, I want to overcome my fear so that, like, at the end of August and like all these other times where he's going to be away, like I got this. Like, it's actually not that challenging. I'm only going to get better. And the same thing with your relationship with food. It's only going to get better. What if you literally reminded yourself this phrase, like, it's only going to get better from here? Because right now, your situation, you might be binging, you might be overeating. It's only going to get better from here. It's only going to get better from here. The more times you actually lean into the fear, you introduce the trigger food once, maybe you binge. Maybe you're still overeating. But it's only going to get better from here. So then maybe the next time you don't binge as much. Maybe the next time you don't overeat as much. Maybe the next time it's like, wow, I was actually able to stop when I was full. Maybe next time you're like, oh, I actually realized that like that cookie was really sweet. Like, I actually don't even want all of it. It's only going to get better from here if you actually believe that. So I had a fantastic weekend, like a really good weekend. I'm so freaking proud of myself. I still stuck to all of my habits and routines. I still went to bed early. I still got up early. I got up at my first alarm and I'm on a walk. Yesterday it was actually pouring rain, so I didn't actually get outside to go for a walk in the morning, but I got up and did some work. And yeah, and this is why, honestly, if you guys aren't in the Root and Rewire membership yet, be sure to jump in, because for the entire month of July and August, the whole focus is on your habits, your routines, having higher standards for yourself. And, you know, it could have been really easy for me this weekend to be like, oh, Andrew's not here. Like, you know, there's no point of getting up on my first alarm, or I'm just going to stay up super late, or, you know, I'm not going to like do my habits. And I'm like, no, like I'm still going to stick to the habits that I set out for myself because I want to feel really good, you know? And even last night, it was so nice. My friend and I, we went out for a spontaneous like pizza dinner. And again, like in the past, if I didn't actually lean into the fear and make peace with going out for dinner, make peace with eating in front of other people, make peace with pizza, I probably would have said no, and I probably would have stayed home alone this entire weekend and literally just binged and not done anything. And then I would have felt so guilty because then I would have been like, oh, Lorna, you should have just went to your parents' house. Oh, Lorna, you should have just went with Andrew. Oh, Lorna, you're such a failure. Like, then I would have been beating myself up and I wouldn't have had this amazing weekend. I had so much fun. I hung out with a friend all day Saturday. We painted, went for a little walk, went out spontaneously for pizza, and that would have honestly never happened if I didn't lean into the fear in 2019 and healing my relationship with food, and also working on these badass habits where I can still get up on my first alarm, have my morning routine, do my evening routine, take really good care of myself, you know, even when I'm by myself, or even when I'm home alone, or even when I am with Andrew, or even when I'm on vacation. So again, for the entire month of July and August, the focus is on your habits, your routines, having higher standards for yourself. You're literally going to feel like such a freaking badass who takes such good care of yourself. You're going to feel amazing every single day because you're respecting your body. I just want you to imagine that for a second. Like, you're finally so consistent with your habits and your routines because you've created a plan. Like, we're actually going to have calls where we map out your specific habits, your specific routines that feels really good for you. Because so often I see like you're trying to replicate somebody else's habits. You know, some of you guys have kids and maybe a morning routine at 6 a.m. is actually not even realistic. You're like, I have to get my kids ready. Like I'm working with a private client right now and she has kids and she's like, I can't really like get up super. Oh my God, a freaking bug just flew in my eyes, you guys. I'm sorry. Oh my God, a bug flew in my eye and my glasses was blocking it from getting out. I'm sorry. Oh, the adventures of Lorna at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. Welcome to my life, you guys. Ah! Oh my God. I'm sorry. Okay, just give me 1 second. Like literally out in nature. I'm not out in nature, but just outside right now. Anyways, okay. I'm working with a private client and she's like, I really so badly like want to do a morning routine, but like I don't really feel like I have a morning routine because I wake up and I get my kids ready and then I just like kind of go to work. And I was like, well, you need to implement some brain-based tools 100%. But if you can't do it at 6 a.m., like there's nothing wrong with doing a morning routine at 9 a.m. There's nothing wrong with doing a morning routine at 10 a.m. And that like really opened her eyes. She was like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to help you literally craft the most like amazing game plan for yourself when it comes to your routines, your habits, based off of your lifestyle, based off what's fun for you. You know, your habits and routines get to feel fun. It gets to feel so effortless. Like the habits that I engage in, I'm not forcing myself to do it. I don't beat myself up if I don't do it, but also I know to give myself tough love because there are certain habits and routines like gratitude, meditation, breath work, getting sunlight, no phone first thing in the morning, no phone before going to bed. Like there's certain habits that I give myself tough love on because I know that it literally transforms my life. I know that it literally just makes me feel so incredible. And that's really finding this beautiful balance of self-love, self-compassion, grace, and also tough love. Right? You don't want to be beating yourself up. You want to be flexible with your habits and routines, not rigid. That's how you're going to get out of the all or nothing mentality and actually, be consistent. But at the same time, if there are certain habits that literally make you feel so good mentally and physically, maybe that is a walk every single day. Maybe it is, doing some journaling first thing in the morning. If you know that makes you feel so freaking incredible, why are you not doing it? Like, you've got to give yourself tough love because like certain habits and routines can change your life. Like I know how I feel if I were to wake up first thing in the morning, check my phone, not move my body, and just like stay inside and not get outside for a walk. Like I wouldn't feel the best compared to no phone in the morning, getting up, doing my journaling, doing my meditation, doing my breathing exercises, going for my walk. Like it is literally a night and day difference, not only for the morning, but for the rest of my day as well too. So I practice giving myself grace, self-compassion. I know when to pull on both of them. And that's what we're going to be really talking about as well too. There's going to be exclusive audio trainings with me. There's going to be exclusive calls with me. I'm so freaking excited. And you guys, for those the only way you can get into this 2-month accountability challenge around your habits and your routines is if you're inside of the Root and Rewire membership. So if you're not inside yet, jump in because July and August, you are taking things to the next freaking level. You're going to just feel so incredible this entire summer. You're going to feel amazing in your own skin. You're going to have high energy. Your relationship with food is going to skyrocket because inside of the membership, that's all we focus on is having a better relationship with food. But there's actually an event inside of this 2 months that I'm planning on doing. I haven't done one of these events in so long. You guys are literally going to freak out when I tell you guys what it is. I just know you guys are going to be so freaking excited. I don't want to share too many details. I want to really keep this a secret. Like nobody knows, like not even my clients don't know about this. I just want to surprise them. So if you guys are inside of the Root and Rewire membership and you're one of my clients right now, like get freaking excited because there's something that's going to be happening either in July or in August or maybe actually both. Ooh, what if I actually do it in both months? That would be so fun. But it's going to literally, you're just going to get so excited. You're going to get so excited. We're going to have so much fun at this event. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So that's all I have for you guys today. A lesson on making peace with fear, reminding yourself that you're a badass, that you can do hard things. And the only way for things to not be scary for you anymore is to lean into the fear and just prove to yourself, I got this. And again, if you want to join us inside of the 2-month accountability challenge to work on your habits and your routines, jump inside of the membership. I will leave the link down for you below. You can jump in. We literally kick off July 1st. July 1st, there's going to be accountability. There's going to be support. You're going to map out your specific game plans, your specific habits. You're going to feel so freaking amazing. You're going to have all the tools inside of the membership to improve your relationship with food. You're going to have the most badass community who's going to not only support you and, be able to cheer you on as you're healing your relationship with food, having less binges, rewiring your brain, having less food thoughts, having less urges. That's inevitably going to happen inside of the membership, but we're also taking things to the next freaking level in July and August so that you can also work on your mental health habits and just feel so incredible every single day. So if you're not inside, jump inside. I cannot wait to see you and have a fabulous rest of your day, you guys.